Well, if it's your first time to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Antonio Faltzman, and on this channel, every Monday and Thursday, I post videos basically surrounded by everything surrounding extreme sports. So from hopping on the bikes to surfing and all things in between. Yeah, and as you can see in front of me today, I've got my big girl Husaberg 650 FE. The E stands for Enduro, so this is an Enduro bike. And yeah, finally, I thought today I'm finally going to talk about the Husaberg 650 and give it a bit of a review. Today I'll talk about a few things that I like about the bike, a few things that I don't particularly like about the bike, and yeah, what I feel the bike was built for, where the bike does really well, and yeah, hopefully give you some insightful information about this bike. Because yeah, when I first saw this bike on Facebook, I thought, what the heck is this thing? Because I mean, yeah, I've never ever heard of the Husaberg brand in my life until I saw it on Facebook. And yeah, it's an interesting looking bike. I mean, if just from looking at the bike you can see it looks like there's a missing fairing here. Trust me, there's no missing fairing. That's how the bike is built. And yeah, another thing that you might not notice until you take a bit of a better look, but the engine is at a much different angle than any other dirt bike out there. So yeah, it's quite a unique bike. It was an engineer's bike if you do some research on the Husaberg brand. Okay, cool. So this is the 2008 model Husaberg 650 FE. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, the E stands for Enduro, as you can see here as well. It is a 4-stroke. Husaberg, they specialize in 4-stroke bikes. And yeah, if you're like me, when I hear the term Enduro, I think of, you know, events like Red Bull, hard enduro, Romaniacs and all that. This bike is not built for that type of hard technical kind of enduro. This is more for the long open roads, you know, going cross country and things, you know, on those super long wide open roads. That's the kind of enduro that this bike is built for. And yeah, let's chat about a few specs before we head into, you know, what I really like about the bike. So a few specs about the bike. It is a obviously 2008 model. Horsepower, it's got 65 horsepower. It has a huge amount of low end torque and low end power. It's crazy. I mean, it's a wheelie machine. When I first hopped on the bike, and just another quick thing, before this bike I had a 150 little Puchi bike, and you know, you go online, they're like, oh, what's a nice beginner bike? I wouldn't say I'm a beginner, but it's definitely my first like proper dirt bike, my first proper bike, and I decided to get a 650. And the reason I got a big bike is that I can take it on the road and on the dirt. I wanted the best of both worlds, and this bike has been giving me that so far. But yeah, it's got 65 horsepower, a super powerful bike. You know, when I first hopped in it, it scared the shit out of me. I almost shat my pants, because you pull that throttle and the thing just wants to freaking go, and it just wants to lift up, you know. So you know, to learn, okay, cool, when you pull up the throttle, you know, you got to lean forward a bit, so you're not going to freaking lift up the front wheel and wheelie the thing. And yeah, another thing is top speed. 160 is what you'll find on Google, but I've managed to push the bike to around 180. If you've seen on my channel already, I mean, my mate Brolin, he's got the Triumph Triple and the Suzuki and all that, and when we go riding the Triumph, I mean, when he's on the Triumph, this beast, this big girl, she really keeps up with that Triumph. And I mean, we usually go up until like 180, pushing 200, and yeah, this dirt bike it keeps up. So yeah, I can say safely, you can say, you know, top speed will be 160 to 180 if you're really pushing it, which is, you know, really fun. And I mean, yeah, it's great for the roads. Okay, cool. So let's chat about a few things that I like about the bike. So there's a lot of things I like about the bike. Obviously, number one, she's a fast girl. As I already said, she's bloody fast, she's bloody quick, and it's a very exciting bike. I mean, it's a lot of power, especially for the dirt. Like, if you're just riding this bike on the dirt, you're not gonna get bored of it. I can promise you that you're not going to get bored of it, especially if you're riding the bike the way it's meant to be ridden. You're not going to get bored. Okay, so what exactly do I like about the bike? there's quite a few things I like about the bike. Number one, if you're like me, and I feel it's a good thing if you own a dirt bike or a bike in general. You know, it's always good to be one with your bike in the sense of you know how to work on your bike. And when I bought this bike, I took it apart, chucked it in my car, surprisingly enough. Myself and the owner, we took the bike apart, put it in my car after I took all my seats out, and brought it down here. And when I got back here, I had to, you know, rebuild it and all that, but it wasn't running great at all, to be honest. It took me about 2 days to get the bike running, and about a week to like get it running really smooth. Okay, so, but it's only because the bike wasn't running for 2 years. It was, you know, standing in the last owner's garage for 2 years, not ridden. So obviously the carburetor, it clogged up, so I had to take the carburetor out, clean that. I had to, you know, redo the change the battery. I had to just, you know, put in some new coolant and all that. But once I got that sorted and I got the settings dialed, like with the fuel screw and the fuel screw, if you can see over here, the fuel screws under here, the throttle, the idle screws over here. So yeah, once I sorted out the settings and stuff, after a week or two, she was running really smoothly. Starts up really quickly, 2 kicks and it starts. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that it's a really easy bike to work on if you're that type of person inclined, and I really advocate for it. You should really work on your bikes. Brolin, I'm shouting out to you, bro. Learn to work on your bike. Anyways, yeah, so this bike has got a carburetor and all that, and it's a really simple bike to work on. It's a bit tricky to get into this section over here. It is a little bit tricky because you've got to take off the shock to get to the battery, to get to the carb and all that, but you can do it. You can do it in like 30 minutes, okay, to get the carb out. You can maybe take an hour to get the carb out, but it's really simple things to work on, which is really nice. So for me, easy to maintain, easy to work on. It's fantastic. Second thing that I like about the bike, let's move up to the fuel tank. It's got 110, no? It's got 10, I was gonna say it's got 110 liters. It's got 10.5 liters in the tank, and that's it's quite a lot because I've managed to, on one tank, take a guess, I've managed to ride this bike about 140 kilometers on one tank. And in the coming future, you'll see a video of me riding with my dad. We went down to Cape Point and back, and I did that on one tank, and that was about 140 kilometers. So, you know, the range on this thing is really quite brilliant, and it's quite fantastic. Okay, next thing, it's got a hot start. If you see over here, hot start. It's got a hot start, but if you get the bike dialed in really nicely, you can use it as an electric start. I use it as an electric start as it is. At the moment, I'm just busy working on the electric start. I wasn't able to get it done before the video. Just the pins in here I just had to replace, but that's not a worry. But yeah, it starts real quick, and I mean, flip, it really comes in handy when you're on the trails. I'll maybe play a clip now of me falling in my chops off the bike. And yeah, you know, when you stall out on the trails and stuff, just flip that switch, press the button, cool, it starts up 2 seconds. In the winter, when it's colder, it's not as easy to, you know, start the bike from cold. So if you give it 1 or 2 kicks and then you press the electric start, it will start. Yeah, so the electric start, it comes in handy. It's a really nice feature to have on the bike. And then second thing, the kickstart. Oh my word, guys, if I can. So okay, you can see I've got my boots, right? But this, before I bought boots, look how fucked. Look how absolutely wrecked this moon boot is. This moon boot is from when what did I do? Oh, I fractured my ankle. Anyways, also falling off a bike. Yeah, when I fractured my ankle. But look at that. This is 2 weeks worth. Literally all this, just 2 weeks worth of me trying to kickstart this bike. Me trying to kickstart the bike before I got boots, obviously. So yo, when I first got the bike, it was a real freaking mission to learn how to kickstart the bike. But after working on the bike, after, you know, getting a really good feel of the bike, I'm now able to kickstart the bike in, you know, 2 kicks. Before I had to get on the bike, freaking muscle the kick and all that. But yeah, now I'm able to kickstart the bike. And I think what I'll do now quickly for you guys is I'll show you how to kickstart this bike. It's quite unique. It's a 4-stroke engine, so it's not like a 2-stroke where you can just kick and it starts. If you do that, you're gonna hurt your leg. So what you do here is, if you can see under here, you guys you obviously can't see it on the GoPro right now, but there's 2 switches. Hopefully I can get a nice angle of the switch. There's a red button and there's a black button. The black, you pull it out, that's for when it's cold. That is the choke, the fuel. So basically just how to say, it trickles a little bit more. It makes the mixture more fuel rich, so it richens the fuel mixture. And if you pull out the red button, it basically lessens the fuel mixture. So it's a hot start button, so it puts more air into the mixture to get it started. Okay, so the bike is, yeah, it's cold now. So let's see if I can kickstart the bike in 2 kicks, or maybe 1, but no, it's probably 2. So if you can see here as well, there's a decompression lever. So let me teach you guys how to kickstart this bike quickly. Put in the clutch, and you want to kick it. You want to basically press it down until you, okay, so you can see here, I can't really get the kick any further down. If I pull in the decompression lever over here, I'm gonna be able to get it all the way down, right? Put in the lever. Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay, wait, another thing, guys. Noob mistake. Make sure your bike is in neutral before kicking the bike, else it will not start. So make sure the bike is in neutral, obviously. Maybe not obviously. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to bring the kickstart down until you can't, get it down anymore. So gonna go down until you can't get it down anymore. Okay, cool. Then what you want to do, pull in the decompression lever over there, if you can see on the GoPro. Pull in the decompression lever, push it slightly down, just a little bit, like basically you don't even have to move it, just a little bit, and then clutch in and kick it. Okay, almost got it. Let's see if we can get second one. Yeah, that's out. Okay. Wait, nope. Okay, decompression lever in, and oh, fuck. Okay, wait. Okay, so if that's not working, I'm gonna pull out the hot start, because you can hear it kind of like it bogs a bit. So I pulled out the hot start now, and it should start now with the hot start on. Let's just get it to top dead center. So yeah, that's the word I was looking for. You want to get it to top dead center where you can't really push the kick anymore without pulling the decompression lever in. So when you're top dead center, pull in the decompression lever, and then push the kickstart down only slightly, like 2 millimeters, because if you push it too far, you're gonna go past top dead center. Pull it back and then kick it. Okay, so that's how you kickstart the Husaberg 650. Cool. Okay, so yeah, when I first bought the bike, it took me 2 whole weeks to learn how to kickstart this bike. I hurt my leg, I hurt my foot, I hurt my everything. I wrecked my boot. And then I was like, flip, no, I can't keep doing this. I need to get motocross boots so I can kickstart my bike. And then, yeah, I did that, but now I can kickstart this bike with my shoes on, which is great. But yeah, there's obviously a bit of a technique to it. And obviously, a nice thing now is like, I know, okay, cool, I was kickstarting the bike, I heard the bog, I was like, okay, cool, it's too rich in fuel, the fuel mixture is too rich. I pulled out the air screw, pulled out the hot start button to lessen the fuel mixture, and yeah, it kicked one time. Okay, cool, so yeah, it's really easy to kickstart. Like once you've got this bike fine-tuned, that's the nice thing. If you're good at working on bikes, even if you're not, Google's your friend, YouTube is your friend. In this case, I do believe I will be making right now, in this present moment, the best Husaberg video on YouTube, because when I looked for Husaberg videos, Husaberg reviews, There is nothing on YouTube about this brilliant bike, unfortunately. So yeah, call me a pioneer on YouTube because I'm making one of the first proper reviews of this bike. But yeah, so if you can get the carb and everything working nicely, you got your fuel, your mixture sorted out with the fuel mixture screw and all that. The bike kickstarts easily, it electric starts easily, so that's no longer a problem, which is fantastic. Okay, a few more other things that I like about the bike. The reason I bought this bike is because I needed a bike that I can get the best of both worlds on, and I have been getting the best of both worlds on because I can take this bike on the road. You've seen, you'll see on YouTube that I'm posting soon. I've done some really cool trips on the road, you know, with Brolin and with my dad and all that. I've even put Hannah. I put Hannah at the back here, and we went to Hout Bay, and that video is also coming out soon. So, I mean, I've ridden this bike on the road, and I've ridden it on the dirt, which is fantastic. But yeah, the thing that I like about this bike is I got it so that I can ride it on the dirt as well as the road, and it does fantastically on the road. I mean, it's got the power, it's got the speed to keep up on highway, you know, traffic. I mean, it's faster than all the cars in the traffic, to be fair. And second thing is it's got the acceleration to, you know, when you need it to overtake cars and all that, it does it perfectly fine. So it's a really great commuter bike, funny enough. No, it's a great bike for taking far distances and long distances and all that, and keeping up in the traffic. So yeah, it's great on the road, and also it's great on the dirt, which is fantastic. So it's really best of both worlds, which is, you know, what I really like about the bike, and it's what I was looking for in a bike. You know, I mean, it's road legal and all that. It's got the indicators, etc. So yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, so what else did I like about the bike? The power band. It is a super smooth power band. Like, it's got power throughout. Honestly, it's got power throughout. Like first gear, second gear, third gear. You get to third gear quite quickly, and then, you know, third gear to fourth gear. Like, there's no, compared to a two-stroke or whatever, where it's like this is just, you know, or it's got a really smooth power band, which is, you know, really nice. You don't even realize that you're riding a dirt bike, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like, you can't really compare it to a motocross or, you know, that kind of dirt bike, if that makes sense. So yeah, the power band, really smooth from bottom end to top end. It's fantastic. A nice thing as well is the gear ratios are quite big. So you get, like I said, you get to third gear quite quickly. And once you're in third gear, especially when you're on the trails, once you're in third gear and you're doing the slower technical stuff, you can keep it in third gear. You don't really have to manage your gears. You don't really have to manage your throttle and all that. You can just, you know, track it through on third gear, and it's not going to cut out. You know, unless you like really falling in your chops, or you really don't know what you're doing, like, you don't need to manage your clutch much at all, really. I mean, you just got to manage your throttle, I guess, but it doesn't cut out. You can, you know, tractor this thing in third gear, and it does fine. You'll see, like, again, I've got a lot of videos coming out of me on this bike, and, you know, I've taken it to single track, and it does really well. You know, it can do well in the slower maneuverable sections and all that. It does really well in it, and you just stay in third gear. Like, you don't even have to think about it. It's like, you don't have to ride and think, oh, I need to switch gears, oh, I need to manage the throttle, I need to manage the clutch. Like, you can just ride and enjoy it, and that's a nice thing. It's like, you can switch your brain off slightly. Don't always switch your brain off when you're riding, but you can switch your brain off when it comes to switching gears and managing clutch and all that, because you can just stay in one gear and you can just tractor on through, which is great. Another thing about tractoring on through that I like about this bike gets through anything and everything. It's like no obstacle in its way, unless it's a huge boulder and you're going slow, and unless it's that, it can tractor through anything. Sand, mud, dirt, big ass holes, whatever, like, it gets through it because it's got the power. It's got these big chunky wheels on it too. So yeah, it's really fantastic. Okay, and then final thing that I want to talk about of what I like about the bike is the bike is pretty much indestructible. I mean, it's got a solid frame. Like, it is solid. You're not going to break this frame, trust me. I mean, there's no linkages here at the bottom. It's a single swing arm, which is great. You know, you're not going to break that unless you clapping it into a rock like really hard at 120 kilometers an hour, in which case you'll die. the frame is solid and it's a solid bike. I've dropped this bike a few times and you know, it's you know, stood up. You know, I haven't had any problems with it. I mean, yes, like I broke my lumbar plate. I had a really bad fall actually. I met this guy Matt out on the trails. I'm posting it on Thursday, so so keep a lookout for that. When I went out to the back in the Parklands trails, and I had the biggest fall and gnarliest fall of my life. What happened was we were doing some hill climbs, some single track hill climbs, but like short technical stuff, you know, like really steep. And what happened was I went up the hill, or the narrow hill climb, and when I got to the top, I whiskey throttled the shit out of this bike. I couldn't grab the clutch in time, and the bike went flying 10 meters that way. I went 10 meters that way with the bike, and I landed on top of the bike. I really bruised my ribs and all that. Thankfully I didn't fracture anything, but yeah, other than me being half broken, the bike was fine. I mean, yes, I did break the decompression lever slightly, but that's plastic, that's fine. I broke my number plate over here, but that's replaceable. Other than the plastics, the bike was fine, and it was quite a big fall, I would say, you know. So yeah, the bike is really indestructible. It's got a solid frame. So yeah, all in all, when it comes to things I like about the bike in that sense, like looking at the bike, it's a really great bike, and it's unfortunate that KTM killed the brand, because it's a really fantastic bike. You know, obviously they killed Husaberg so that they could put focus into Husqvarna. But yeah, the Husaberg was a real pioneer in its time. You know, they focused on 4 strokes, and there was an engineering team that put these bikes together. Hence the really radical kind of, you know, engine that they got in there, which is why KTM bought it over. So yeah, really fantastic bike and those are a few things that I like about it. Okay, and now to talk about a few things that I don't like about it. Okay, so I think I rambled on quite a bit now about the things I like about it. Let's talk about the things I don't like. Honestly, there's only 2 things that I don't like about this bike. And you'll come to not like it if you don't ride it for what it was built for, which I'll talk about later in the video. You know, I'll talk about what this bike was built for. But number 1, this bike weighs 120 kilograms. Okay, so if I can show you here quickly, kind of demonstrate to see how heavy the bike is. Like if I can pull it there, like it's not, I'm making it look light, but it's not light, you know, like it is quite heavy. And at speed, when you're riding the way the bike is meant to be ridden, which is freaking wide open throttle, if you're riding in slower technical stuff, it does get through it. Like I said, I took the bike through to the single track, right? But when I rode with Matt on his 250 Husky 2-stroke, right? I mean, if you've ever been on a 2-stroke, those bikes are freaking light. It's crazy. Like my neighbor over here, I rode his 250 2-stroke, and I was blown away at how much lighter that bike is compared to this bike. This bike is really heavy compared to, you know, your average dirt bike. So where that comes to a disadvantage is if you are doing especially sandy trails. I took the bike to the dunes as well, and you know, going at speed and all that, the bike does fine, great. But as soon as you start slowing down, especially in the sand, the bike starts sinking and the front end goes down and you go down with the bike. So yeah, the weight isn't a problem when you're at speed. You know, cool, when you're at speed, you can throw the bike around fine, you know, it's quite nimble, not a problem. But when you start slowing down, especially in the softer terrain like sand, you do start to feel the negative effects of the weight. Okay, second thing, this is an enduro bike, but it's not a 21st century enduro bike. This is a 20th century enduro bike, in the sense of, like I explained in the first place, enduro back then meant you can go long distance in harsh terrain, you know, through the desert, through the freaking sand and all that, and through the dirt trails. You can go long, wide open trails across country, that kind of enduro. It is not built for slow technical riding. And I say that, number 1, obviously the bike is heavy. You're not going to be able to pop this, you know, you're not going to, unless you're a really skilled rider, you're not really going to be able to do double blips and, you know, pop this bike up like it's nothing. I'm sure if you're a really skilled rider, cool, you know, you can do it. There's guys that do it on freaking 800,000 cc's, no problem. But if you're the average rider like me, it is a bit more tricky to learn these skills because the bike is heavy, because it's 120 kilograms. And second thing is, this bike, and I'm going to keep saying it throughout this video, this bike is built to go fast and to keep that throttle open. Okay, because if you don't, and if you're doing slow technical stuff, the bike will overheat. Okay, so the other day, I was practicing my wheelies out in the field, and I think I was out there for maybe like 30 minutes or so. 30 minutes, and you know, I was just doing a lot of, you know, stagnant clutch pops, cool, go and stop, stop and go, stop and go. So a lot of clutch work, okay, a lot of clutch work. Because obviously I'm practicing my clutch pops and all that. And after 30 minutes or so, the radiator, it started steaming. It obviously started, the coolant started pouring out, only slightly, but I could tell, okay, cool, it's probably time to take this bike home or start riding it. Because yeah, if you're going to be doing things like that, like going out into the slow technical stuff where you got to get over rocks, do switchbacks and stuff, don't take this bike there. Don't buy this bike for that. Do not do it. Okay, you want to buy this bike if you ever are lucky enough to find it on Facebook. You want to buy this bike because you want to take it far distances, or because you want to do, you know, some fast riding. You know what I mean? You're not really into the technical stuff. If you want to go fast and you want to go hard, you want to buy this bike. If you want to do the technical stuff and single track and all that, and you know, going to the mountains, and you know, it's not built for that, unfortunately. Okay, so yeah, only two things I don't like about the bike. Number one is it can be heavy when slow. Number two, it can overheat when going slow. So what's the solution? Go fast. Pretty simple. Go fast. Okay. Okay, so I've spoken about the things I like, and I have touched on the subject slightly, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit more, is the things that this bike does well. Okay, so what it does well in the wide open sections and the long dirt roads. If you want to go really far distances, if you want to travel and take this bike across the country, you can do it. You can do it on this bike, okay? I mean, like I said, I've gone far distances and the seat is quite narrow, but it's relatively comfortable. If you stand up here and there, you know, just, you know, so you get some blood flow to your booty. You know, the seat is comfortable enough. It does, I mean, you can keep this throttle open until the bloody 10.5 liters of petrol runs out. Okay, this bike will not overheat. It will not give out on you. You can go balls to the wall, 5th or 6th gear, full throttle all the way across the country, and you won't have any problems, because that's what this bike wants. It wants you to keep that throttle open. It wants you to keep going fast. It wants you to just freaking motor and get across the land. That's what this bike is built for. Okay, and that's what it's really good at. Okay, it's really good at, you know, wide open sections, opening the throttle. So if you want to go fast, this is the bike for you. And then just two more things I did touch on it earlier is, I mean, look at these nice chunky wheels, these nice chunky tires and all that, and the suspension. I mean, the suspension is set up for a rider of about 75 kilograms and about 100 and trying to think now, about 100 and yeah, the suspension is set up for a rider that should be between around 75 kilograms and about 110 to 120 centimeters tall, which is literally my build. So the suspension works really well, and with these nice beefy chunky tires, with big wheels and all that, and the power, this bike gets through everything. There hasn't been a single thing to stand in my way where I can't get to the top of a hill, or I can't get through some hectic dirt or gravel or whatever. Like, it's got so much power, it'll get you through it. You won't get stuck, and you won't. There will never be a point in the dirt that you will be underpowered with this bike. Guaranteed. You will not be underpowered at all. You can get to the top of a hill. You can go anywhere with this bike. It's not underpowered. Okay. And then final thing is of what it's good at is it's quite a forgiving bike. Now, when I went riding in the sand, when I went to Parklands and all that, it was obviously quite a big learning curve, right? Because if you've never ridden sand, and especially riding the sand with a bit of a heavier bike. It is really quite something to learn. So I took it out to Parklands. I took it out to the dunes, and I really had to learn to let the bike do its thing. Because when you let the bike do its thing and you let it dance between your legs and under you, it can be a forgiving bike in that sense. If you try to fight the bike and you try to sit down and you get scared and all that, the bike is not going to be as forgiving. It's going to throw you. Okay, so if you learn to tame the beast and if you learn to handle the beast well and let it do its thing under you, it's forgiving. Okay, the weight distribution it's really great. You know what I mean? Like, there's, again, maybe I can find some clips, but going through the dirt and stuff, like, once you learn that you don't need to muscle this bike around and you can let it do its thing, the bike can be, I've ridden in the dunes, I've ridden in the sand where the bike is doing this, but I'm going straight and I'm letting the bike do its thing and it's fine. Okay, so if you let the bike do its thing under you, it's not going to throw you. If you keep loose, keep your legs, with the bike and all that, and you've got good body position, the bike is going to keep you going forward. Okay, and that's a fantastic thing. If you learn to ride the bike well, it can be forgiving in that sense. So, when the terrain gets a bit tough and rough and your bike's going like this, it's not going to chuck you. Okay, that's the final thing that this bike is good at. Okay, and then finally, last two things is it's an enduro bike. So obviously you want to take it out into the buntus, you want to take it cross country. I don't have a freaking huge kit on this bike, but I did put a few little things in the bike. Okay, so if you see over here, I put this little I'm going to talk about now just a few things that I changed on the bike, or that I put onto the bike, just so that when I'm out stuck in the freaking dirt and I have nowhere to get out, I know that I've got tools and things with me. Okay, so over here I usually put my hand pump over here. I've got a hand pump with a gauge on it. I don't have it in the garage with me, it's in the car, but anyways, my hand pump usually goes here. I put a nice strap over here, and in here, so obviously with the strap, this is nice because I can use it to pull the bike at the back here. I can use the strap to pull the bike at the back here. I've got a tool kit over here. So in here there's air compressors and a few other things. There's things for the tire and all that. And then over here I've got a little tool kit in here. I've got another thing that is quite cool about this bike is you can be guaranteed that every single bolt on this bike is either a size 8 or a size 10 bolt. Okay, so you only need to take size 8 and size 10 wrenches with you, and you can basically take this whole bike apart, except for obviously the wheels and all that. That's size 18, I think. I actually just recently took the wheel off because I had to replace the tire. Got my tool kit here. Another thing is here, I've got a ratchet strap here, so this doubles as if I need to pull the bike out, but also I can take the seat off, and it's a ratchet strap with a hook, so if I need to pull the bike out of some trouble or whatnot, I can take that, connect it here, cool, pull it out. And then I've also got another multi-tool kit right over here. Okay, so yeah. Oh, and then just for kicks, I put another handlebar attachment over here, just so I can put like my tripod or whatnot here for like 360 videos for the YouTube and stuff. But okay, so those are a few things that I like about the bike, that I don't like about the bike, and what the bike is built for. All in all, I would say that this bike is a really fantastic bike. All in all, I'd say this bike it's a fantastic bike. I mean, if you are lucky enough to come across a Husaberg on Facebook, I'd suggest you buy it. Only because it's such a rare piece, right? Second of all, it's a really unique motorcycle. I mean, if you get anyone who rides dirt bikes and you put them on this, they'll tell you like, holy shit, this is so different. What is this bike? Because it just feels so different compared to any other dirt bike, and it's because of the engine in this bike. It's a really unique engine. It's the reason why KTM bought over Husaberg. They bought it for the technology in this engine. Okay, So it's a fantastic bike. This bike specifically, if you're looking at an enduro bike, it's fantastic. I mean, it's a 2008 model bike and we now in 2024. It's 16 years old and it's solid. I mean, I've ridden this bike super hard through a lot of trails. I've taken it far distances and it hasn't given me a single problem yet. Obviously, when I first got it, I fixed it up slightly and all that, but it runs. It does a fantastic job. So if you're looking for a bike that's reliable, that's unique, that will put a smile on your face every single time you ride it, and if you're lucky enough to find it, I'd say sell your house and buy it. Buy the bike because it's not going to compare to any other bike that you'll find out there. Okay. So yeah, just to round it off, I'd say this bike, it's an enduro bike in the terms of going far, long distances. It's a fast bike, great on the road, even better on the trails. Great for, you know, wide open throttle, going fast and all that. And yeah, if you're the type of rider that wants to go balls to the wall, go long distances, just go freaking fast, this is the bike to do it on. And you're gonna have fun. And also, if you've got a partner, if you've got a girlfriend, you can put it on the back. No problem. You can do it, because I've done it. Okay, so yeah, that's my little bit of a review on the Husaberg 650. What can you guys expect from this bike on the channel? So I've mentioned it a few times now on this video, but yeah, I've taken this bike now, I've taken it to the dunes. I don't know why the heck people decide to take their bikes to the dunes, because it is freaking dangerous and freaking scary, because you don't know when the next freaking dune is coming up and you don't know where the next drop is coming off. But anyways, I digress. I've taken this bike to the sand dunes, I've taken this bike to the trails, you know, on the single track and stuff, and I have taken this bike obviously out on the road. We've gone far distances with my dad on his Harley. We've gone to Cape Point. I've taken Hannah to Hout Bay on this bike. Yes, I took Hannah on the back. This bike did perfectly fine with a pillion on it, which is fantastic. I've gone with Broden on his super bike and the bike kept up, you know. So I've taken this bike places, and these are all videos that's now coming up. You can expect to see it every Thursday. And in my time now it's a Friday, but when you guys see this video, this coming Monday, obviously you'll see this video on Monday, but this coming Thursday in your time now is when you're watching. This coming Thursday you'll see me take this bike out to the trails in Parkland, so that's going to be really exciting. But yeah, what you guys can expect from this bike is obviously, you know, I'm going to push this bike to its limits before I even decide or think about selling this bike. You know, I'm going to take it out to the trails. I'm going to take it out on the far distances. I'm going to take it to the track too. I really want to do that. I'm excited to do that. So I'm going to take it out to the track to zone 7. I'm going to, you know, learn to catch some air on this bike. I'm going to learn to wheelie on this bike. And yeah, I'm really going to push the bike to its limits. And it's obviously all going to be posted here on YouTube every Thursday. So that's exciting. So yeah, that's what you guys can kind of expect to see of this bike coming up now. Okay, cool. So yeah, to basically wrap it up, this bike, it's a fantastic bike. It's a real shame that KTM killed off the brand, but it was built by engineers. It was, you know, it's a really unique bike, and if you're ever lucky enough to find this bike on Facebook, sell your house and buy it. Do it. Because yeah, you really won't regret buying this bike. I can promise you that. Anyone who's ever ridden this bike, coming from a dirt bike history, they'll tell you it's really something. It's really something special, and it's not something that you'll experience on another dirt bike. Okay. So yeah, guys, that is my little review on the Husaberg 650. I hope that you guys found this video insightful and entertaining. And yeah, this is the kind of stuff that you guys can expect from me every Monday, where I'm gonna be doing these kind of more informational style, review style videos of me going out and, you know, chatting more to the camera. And then obviously I told you guys now what you guys can expect to see from this bike. So if you guys are keen and excited to see those kind of things, Okay guys, so that is my review on the Husaberg 650. I think this video of mine will be the one and only review of any Husaberg bike on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed my little insight into the bike of the short time that I've owned it and what I've experienced of it and what I've come to like about it. And hopefully if you are ever in luck of finding a Husaberg on Facebook Marketplace, you're thinking of buying it, hopefully this video helps you make that decision of, yes, you should buy the bike. Do it. You have to experience it once in your lifetime. Okay, so I hope you guys found this video insightful and exciting and entertaining. And yeah, you can now expect this kind of, these kind of videos from me every Monday, where I do, these kind of reviews, more insightful, educational, chatty kind of videos every Monday. And then every Thursday you can expect videos of me doing things like going out and riding the bike, going out and exploring trails, etc., doing the gassed up extreme sports kind of stuff. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, I'm a YouTuber now, so I've got to say these lines. If you enjoyed this video please be sure to like the video. It really helps. And if you can, leave a comment below. Let me know, if you find anything interesting about the video, if you find anything interesting about the bike. Let me know if you like the bike, if you think it's a sexy bike, and if you maybe have a Husaberg, who knows. And yeah, if you're looking forward to the upcoming content of me going through the dunes, taking the bike and pushing this bike to the limits, that's coming out every Thursday. And if you want to see that, be sure to subscribe. Okay. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this. And yeah, I will see you on Thursday. We are hitting the Parklands trails on this bike this coming Thursday, so stick around for that. Okay.
What am I dripping? I got the cash, stack it up. Most of them niggas, they keep backing up. I told this nigga Matt. What? I told this nigga Matt, I really rap. Most of these niggas out there really trash. I'm moving this way too fast shit. Keep it on the low. I know way too many bitches for the most. I know way too many niggas on the low. I know way too many niggas gripping close.